I've arrived in India. Oh my goodness. Wow, what a blast. So I made it to Kolkata, or Calcutta, as maybe we say. So I'm out walking, and I don't know if you can see this behind me. Ooh. So I'm in the memorial for Queen Victoria, which I do apologise if I'm wrong, but I don't think she ever visited India. Well, if that's the case, that's an even more impressive memorial. But it's so calming here. All the locals are out. I think it seems to me a little bit of a date place. I might be getting that very wrong, but it looks to me like there's a lot of couples here. Like first date winner. Anyway, I thought this was a lovely little spot just to chat and talk to you. So just a little bit of historical info for you. Way before Delhi was the capital, Calcutta was in fact the capital for the British Raj for over 2 centuries. The only sort of slight thing sitting here in this lovely serene thing, it's obviously quite a show of the whole British colonial power thing. And for that I just feel like maybe I should just apologise or something. I feel a bit sorry about that. I just say a little sorry. Sorry. You might be able to hear some road noise, but I have to tell you, that's like no noise. It's crazy. I arrived in Calcutta yesterday, but super tired. Bangalore airport was really modern and lovely. That was my little transfer spot. That all went very well, except there was then a delay. So actually arrived here quite late. I think it was 10:30, 11 by the time actually coming through the airport. So I was really tired after the night train in Sri Lanka. You need to go to my other video to get the story of Sri Lanka. So arrived in Kolkata airport. Actually, I have to say, wasn't quite sure how it was going to go, but super easily navigated the airport system. Taxi, no problem. You can get like an app, or there seems to be a few. As you exit the airport, it's already well set up. But I didn't have Wi-Fi. I was super tired. I didn't have an Indian SIM. And I just thought, I'm just going to go for the prepaid booth. So it's a system where you can prepay for your taxi, then you get in that taxi and you just go to your place. That was just outside arrivals, across the road, up a little bit, easy. And they were really super helpful. I have to say, my experience was really great. Paid for the taxi and then went, I don't know. It seemed really far. Maybe I'm exaggerating. I think I was probably in the car for 40 minutes. And I was weary, but I think I passed Big Ben. Anyway, I think it was only like the equivalent of maybe 8-9 euros, £8 sterling, something like that. The guy was amazing. He couldn't find my little place. And he was just going up and down streets asking, how many people did he ask? 10? Really, and then the locals were really trying to help him find my little place. Really kind, really felt very at ease, no problem. But arrived really late at the hotel. I think it must have been getting towards midnight actually. But really easy process. Utterly crazy on the roads, utterly crazy. There are no sides of the roads to drive on, I believe, must be the rules. Loving every second. From the first second. So tried to sleep in, but yeah, that wasn't going to happen, was it? Because excited little old me got really excited, but went off walking, past a goat, past people washing chicken in the street, and lots of little street foodie places setting up, and just the noise is like deafening but funky all at the same time. and made my way because I was sort of a little bit excited to do this, especially after I knew that I would be tired. So I went to Flurries. So it's an old colonial tea shop, which started in 1927, if I'm getting my dates right here, around that time. Just think quintessentially English tea room, bit like Betty's in York. And I mean, if you haven't been to Betty's in York, what are you doing? I can recommend that. Also quintessentially English tea room. Imagine on my little travels in a colonial area, quintessentially English tea shop, and for somebody who's living in France, they did have, amongst an amazing menu and pastries galore. Didn't even know quite what to do with myself because there were blueberry muffins, cinnamon rolls, a whole abundance of pastries, to be honest. Ooh. They did have a full English breakfast. Yes, that's what I want. So, wow, it was a full English breakfast and I couldn't move. And also came along with a lovely bowl of fresh fruit, fresh watermelon juice. Oh, I'm just saying that Tam was very happy this morning. Everyone there's so lovely. People waiting on you at the door. Lovely. So after a little rest in Flurry's wonderful tea shop, because I couldn't actually move, continued my stroll, headed over to the Maiden, walked across the Maiden. Lots of things going on there, including wild horses. Well, they look wild, but very joyful. Seemed to be having a nice time. Walked, then past some goats. For those who know me, not so lovely. They have like really funny eyes and they really freak me out. And one time I was in Greece, and I mean, sort of digressing here, but the goats tried to steal my breakfast, even though I was on a boat. That's a story probably don't have time for right now. No, I'm not a fan of the goats. Sorry, goats. Sorry. But, yeah. Anyway, lots of cricket going on. Started to have a little chat with one of the guys who was very smiley at the boundary, and then I thought, oh god, that's probably not a good idea. His teammate's gonna get very cross with him, so I'd be distracting him. Then you hear a catch it, and he did. Maybe I was a good omen, or maybe he was just really good at cricket. Anyway, and then came here to the Queen Vic's Memorial. Bit of a crazy queuing system to get the tickets, but managed to navigate that with the help of a lovely person who basically, if I'm honest, sort of helped as well. I sort of jumped the queue with him after trying to work out what was going on, so I felt a bit bad about that. But everybody seemed fine as he was sort of helping me and let me in. But thank you very much. And then bought my ticket, and a guy sort of jumped in front of him, and I was not very happy about it really. So I just said, "Oh, excuse me." This guy's in front of you, but he didn't seem bothered at all, and he was just like, oh, don't you worry about it. So I said, oh, okay, I'm very sorry, and thank you. So these gardens are lovely. You can't actually see, but sort of over there-ish is St. Paul's Cathedral, obviously. So I'm going to take another little stroll and walk over there and find things out. But yes, so I'll be in touch soon. I just thought this was a beautiful little spot. I mean, I've only been here. I mean, I haven't been here 24 hours yet, but I thought I'd just check in with you. So good to see you from India. It sounds so funny when I say it. But I'll catch up with you really soon with some more news, probably from Varanasi. But I'll catch up with you really soon. See ya. So right now I'm coming to you from the holy sacred city of Varanasi. Wow. So I'm sat here, and to be honest, I'm unsure how to even articulate the experience of Varanasi or Benares in the local language. In my opinion, it will educate you, impress, challenge, enlighten, question. It will cause you to soul search, reflect, give you conflicting thoughts and feelings and emotions. The spiritual enormity is overwhelming. A place where life and death are utterly entwined, like nothing I've ever experienced before. There's a whole conversation to have about life here in Varanasi, which is probably more than for this forum. But I just wanted to share a little bit with you of my tour here in India and the food tour that I've had in general. This has been a major part of it for me, and I just wanted to share a little bit so you get the kind of the vibe of my whole journey. I was aware of open cremation sites here. I was not expecting that to be so openly so. So that's an insight, and yeah, emotionally confusing, I think. There are two cremation ghats. So the larger of the two, when locals are speaking to me, they refer to it as the burning ghat. So the more ancient ghat is where there is the eternal flame. It's been burning for more than 3,000 years, and cremations are started from the fire, from this flame. I was well aware before coming here that I wouldn't know what to really expect or how I would really feel. I feel like I inadvertently give off a negative energy, like a sadness and an overwhelming compassion, which is ironically something probably completely the opposite of how it is here for people. But I think it's just so culturally removed from anything I know, so far removed from Western ideology or an ideology that I know. I'm not sure this is the forum to be discussing the whole spiritual process and the actual process of the passing of life and the process of death here, of this spiritual passage of seeking liberation and nirvana. So ghats line the riverbank here of the Ganga, or Ganges as we may say, along with sadhus, maybe ascetics, but sadhus more so in this case, I think, if I'm correct. Sadhus are people who live here along the ghats in shelters. They renounce worldly life, possessions, very spiritual beings. And the ghats are basically steeped steps going down onto the riverbanks of the Ganga. This is the home of Lord Shiva, and the river Ganga flows from the matted hair of Shiva. So therefore, this doesn't get more sacred or holy as a city, or certainly as a body of water. Hence, it's important for puja in life and the final passage in death. Puja takes place in the waters here along the riverbanks of the Ganga River. Morning, sunrise, and early evening. It's quite a sight to see. But it is also one of the most polluted bodies of water. And the challenges of that for me are probably completely inappropriate, but I cannot rid my mind of this being one of the many challenges here. The paradox for me of, for example, such a sacred body of water or such a holy city
mixed with sometimes an environment or actions of others that are in complete contrast to that. Actually in a cafe, it's right on the Ghats, but I am up some stairs and I'm incredibly aware of the sounds and the noises, but I feel like I want to keep those sounds to give you a sense of just the overwhelming sort of crazy and contrasts of all that spirituality and calm, and the drums beating of ceremonial sounds in contrast with the tourist boats that I really think you will be able to hear loudly at times, traveling up and down and across the sacred waters, almost a graveyard of water, where ashes of the deceased are placed into the waters. I find these things conflicting, crazy hustle and bustle and noise within an area of death and spiritual processes. And maybe that's just my Western influences and my ideology that blocks me from being able to see what those living and dying in such a spiritual place, which I mean physically and spiritually, by what those devoutly practicing Hinduism can see and feel and believe and live and die by. Quite literally here in Varanasi, people live amongst the living and the dying and the dead. This is natural life here. I strongly believe that travel is an education, and at no other time has that been more strongly the case for me than visiting here in Varanasi. And in any which way, and in any case, Varanasi, wow, what a humbling experience, and a place that will never leave me. So that's me, you guys. I am humbly signing off from Varanasi, and I'll see you back in Kolkata. So now I'm coming to you from the airport because it's the end of my trip. Sad faces. Okay, enough of that. I'm going to show you that I'm coming from the airport. Although my flight's not on there, because I leave earlier than the ones they're showing you. I'm very conscious there's a lot of people around me, just saying. So I was going to talk to you from South Park Cemetery, but it was inevitable that I would be chatting with you about colonial stuff, because that's been very evident here, obviously, with the history. And I felt a little uncomfortable and weird about it, because it was a cemetery. Lots of people during that era. So I didn't talk to you at the cemetery. But it is a beautiful cemetery. Very calm, very green. The people there are really trying to look after it, and it's tricky with everything decaying. I mean, this is quite a long time ago. And maybe this won't be surprising if you knew, but for me, surprising. Charles Dickens' son is there, resting in peace. And he has quite a beautiful, humble grave, I thought. But a very nice place to be, even though sad that he clearly died far too young. I do believe he was the 6th child, second son of Charles Dickens, I do believe. He was a lieutenant at the time. Poor old Charlie boy. That's sad, isn't it? It's an incredible cemetery, I have to say. Absolutely worth going to. Big part of history here. There are tombs that are very ornate, some large, some smaller, mausoleums. But it's a beautiful spot. And weirdly, I would say serene, even though you can hear traffic and beep beep all the time. It is right alongside Park Street, which is quite a central part of Kolkata. So, who's heard of the Black Hole of Calcutta? Certainly UK peeps, I think, might well know that well-known phrase, the Black Hole of Calcutta, but do you know where it comes from? Interesting fact coming. Okay, so the Black Hole of Calcutta is often a phrase that we use for situations that are very claustrophobic, uncomfortable. As an example, the London Tube at rush hour. Crammed in like sardines, and it wouldn't necessarily be unusual for someone to say, oh my goodness, it's like the Black Hole of Calcutta in here. Well, that phrase comes from true events, although true events that the accounts of the events have been questioned a little as to their complete accuracy. But I will tell you all about it. So, I went for a long walk yesterday, and on my long walk I skirted Fort William, or what was Fort William at the time of the colonial period, you know, British East India Company. Now, this is not really a very proud moment in British history. Sorry to offend anyone there, but Fort William was constructed around 1696 on the banks of the Hooghly River? Hooghly River. I think either one, because the name's great. Anyway, back to the British acting like silly billies. Not unusual. I think I'm allowed to say that. I am British. So, British East India Company is getting a bit of influence over here, in a very simplified explanation. And the local governor of Bengal was getting a little bit concerned about that. He was getting a little bit too big for our boots. We did really rather ignore instructions not to fortify Fort William. And that was a little bit provocative. I mean, I think that we had been involved quite heavily in unauthorized trade, also not allowed. And I think the whole ignoring the governor of Bengal became a little bit of an issue, and he became very distrusting of the British East India Company and its peeps. Especially so when, after ignoring the whole please don't fortify Fort William, they just continued and continued. And that provocation sort of really rather backfired and led to the siege of Fort William in 1736. Oops. Now, what it was, the British were so involved in their continued efforts to fortify Fort William that they sort of really rather took their eye off the ball, completely unprepared. And so the siege was very successful, and Fort William fell. Completely
completely caught unawares, and the whole thing went horribly wrong. So the fort is now captured, and so are the prisoners. And here comes the phrase, the Black Hole of Calcutta. It is alleged that 146 British and Anglo-Indian prisoners were captured and then held in a cell, tiny cell, 14 by 16 feet. Now I can tell you, after being in Calcutta, and in March, not June, that it is super hot and humidity is a thing. And staying in a cell with 145 other prisoners in a small space that's 14 by 16 feet, that is not going to go well. And it didn't. So we are talking no air ventilation, heat, no water. The accuracy of the accounts from that day are being questioned a little, but it is also alleged that only 23 prisoners survived, and this is known as the Black Hole of Calcutta. Anyways, that also led to a little bit of infuriation by the British, which later led to another battle, 57, where the British were out to retaliate, and that kind of went a little bit better. And then turns out that this victory, I think, is basically noted as the start of colonialism in India. Anyway, so there you go, a little bit of history and little facts for you. Maybe next time you hear the phrase or you say Black Hole of Calcutta, now you know. So on my lovely little walk over to the river, I also passed a really rather large and impressive looking cricket stadium. And I have to say, during my trip, it's been really cool because India are doing very, very well in the Champions Trophy. And as I speak, they are playing New Zealand in the final. I think they're going to win this, and people are very happy. Look, I'm drinking a cheeky little cappuccino while I'm waiting at the airport. So, onto my food adventures while here in India. I don't know what to say. I mean, the food is so tasty, so delicious. Oh, spices, just the aromas. Well, there are some, if I'm being honest, there are some aromas that are not so nice. Food-wise, oh my God, so good, so good. I met a lovely couple on one of my sleeping trains, and of course I got to talking about food, and they gave me the best recipe for, so they called it a pickle, and they said you've got to eat it with everything, of which I am all in. There's a few things in it, but very mint based. Oh, I love a bit of mint. We're not even talking like with lamb. Oh no, well maybe we are also talking about lamb, but not like as we know it. Guess what I'm gonna make when I get home. So very grateful for this recipe. While I was on this train, I also got a free breakfast. Can you imagine? Which involved cornflakes, bananas, toast and jam, pakoras, like a potato and peas, coffee, happy train days. Anyway, this lovely couple were from Kolkata, and they told me lots of things that I should be eating. The pickle, surprisingly, and they also told me that Chinese food is super popular, and there are many restaurants in Calcutta, which I had noticed actually, but they said that I must try it. It's what they do. So guess what I did? I tried a my food, they say here. I don't know if that might be pronounced slightly differently or written slightly differently in China, Singapore, which was like rice noodles, but really, really thin and cut really small at the same time. And then also I tried chicken hot pot. Oh,
not like super hot spicy, but some spice in there that just kind of tickled the back of your tongue a little. They also gave me some top tips on things that were local here to Calcutta. So I tried this tadka dal, I'm gonna call it, which, agreed, delicious. It's a Kolkata thing. Sure, you can get this elsewhere too, but it's a Kolkata thing. And I think you can mix up the lentils, but maybe particularly yellow lentil or red lentils, but oh God. And you just eat this with chapatis, so I did. You can have it with the pickle too. Absolutely stunning. I think they call it tur dal, lentil, or moong dal, yellow split mung bean. I think it all depends on different households and how they do this. But it usually includes ghee, cumin, ginger, lots of variations, but the one I had was absolutely sublime. They were also explaining to me that kati rolls, again, badly pronounced, are a real Calcutta thing here. And I've seen that. I've seen a lot of street food vendors doing these. Unfortunately, I didn't quite manage to try one. And also they were talking about samosas being like a cheeky little snack food. Well, I'm all for cheeky little snack foods. Oh, something's got really loud at the airport. Oh, I say. Hope you can still hear me here. I'm a bit short for time, so I've got to just keep cracking on. I'm all in for cheeky samosas, so I tried some of them, and you guess what happened? They were served with the cheeky little mint pickle. Well, that was a happy moment. I hope you can hear me in this airport, because there are people eating and chatting around me, and I'm a little bit envious. I'm looking over to the left of me, discreetly. They are eating what looks like a very tasty Indian-style burrito. I wonder if they'll leave it. Oh no, that's outrageous. Sorry. Oh, I also had this fabulous chana masala, which ironically I'm making when I get back. So I was super excited to be able to taste this. And again, asking lots of questions, how to do it. I wish I had the freshest of spices like they have here. Oh my goodness. I also noticed that butter masala dishes seem to be on lots of menus, so I tried those. Tried like a butter chicken masala. Oh, that was like one of my most favorite dishes. Although I'm saying that about all of them, it's just ridiculous. I need to stop saying that, don't I? I also had the paneer butter masala. Oh God. I tried what was called like a burji. That is not how that's meant to be said, for sure. But it means like scrambled, so it's often like a side dish of scrambled eggs, but in deliciousness. But they also did like an aloo burji, again, not how it's meant to be said. So potato, oh good lord, I could eat just the side dishes. So particularly noticed when I was in Varanasi that thali was a big thing, and I mean thali is everywhere. So I tried the thali a couple of times in different places and got a whole mix of different dishes. I thought this would be an amazing way to try lots of different things. And I wasn't wrong. I'll put up some pictures now, hopefully. And oh god, just so these thalis are absolutely amazing. I think one of my favorite ones was almost like this creamy paneer curry, I guess. It was almost like just like a gravy. Oh, I mean the word gravy is already making you dance and sing, right? This was absolutely delicious, and I've tried so many different breads that you can choose the breads that come, like paratha, roti, chapati, garlic naan, plain naan, butter naan. Oh, the list just goes on and on. I mean, I could just eat bread every 10 minutes of the day, I think. The aromas and the flavors here are just absolutely, I mean, I just don't know what to tell you. It's like your eyes are just lighting up every time you see a bit of food. Then your nose goes into crazy, like, you know, like the Bisto advert, when you just start you start following the aroma of the gravy. Well, it's like that. It's ridiculous. I must look ridiculous walking around the street. Certainly in Varanasi, but I've seen a little bit here too, that people are drinking like chai, and they drink it out of really small clay pots and then smash them. That's the way to do it. I seem to always be having encounters with cows, and there have been moments, particularly in Varanasi, I have to say, where, I mean, we are talking really narrow streets with lots of peeps, and
motorbikes and cycle bikes, and they are all just like lining the side of the streets, and I'm trying to pass, and so are the cows, and sometimes I come way worse off. Oh, and I haven't told you about the momos. I call them momos because they're a bit like muumuus, which are like for cows, but these are not cows. These are the most delicious dumplings, influenced from Nepal, Tibet. They're very Nepalese, Tibetan. And I was in one cafe chatting, and turned out that one of the chefs there, because momos was on the menu, and one of the chefs there is from Nepal, and that's why they served this dish up, and he made them for me, and oh, hallelujah. I have to say, it's noticeable to me in Calcutta. It's very interesting. I noticed that areas change very quickly. In sort of a way, it reminds me a little bit of London, like lots of little villages. Some places are sort of leafy green, tree-lined streets. Some are very modern, some are wealthier, and some are poorer. Even some sort of little shanty town areas, but are all very mixed and close together. But a really fun vibe, I have to say. I visited Mother Teresa's house. That was also quite humbling. Her tomb is there. Inspirational figure, of course. And one of the really fun things to do for me was I woke up late, and I mean, I never do this, right? But I woke up late and I realized that there was like a little restaurant at the place that I'm staying, and a really good one too. And I woke up really late, so I rang and said, "Oh, do you think I could have a chai?" "Yes, you can, madam." And I got room service. And then I got back really late one night, and I thought, well, I know what I'm going to do. I don't need to go out. I can get room service. And I thought it would be a really fun experience. So this time I went down and chatted with them, chatting for about half an hour. They're lovely here, by the way. And so I did my little order, and I did indeed get room service. So funny. But again, sublime, delicious food. Also, a really great area is around College Street. Oh God, that's great. That's like the University of Kolkata is there. And it's just lined with really small side-by-side booksellers. Just loads and loads of little stalls selling books. And in the midst of it all is a really old building called the Indian Coffee House, which I think is actually ironically called the Albert Hall. Nothing like the Albert Hall that we know. And that was a really great place to go and have coffee. You go up the stairs and kind of enter this really large room with the waiters. They're all dressed in these kind of white costumes almost, with hats with like peaks in the middle. And that's a fascinating place. Way back in the day, it used to be a place for sort of, well, I do believe for writers and philosophers and intellectuals. So of course I went. Well, you guys, I'm just looking over at my flight. It's like I'm getting a gate call. It's all very early days, not boarding or anything. But I think that's maybe a sign to wrap this up. So, this is it. The end of the most amazing food trip. Although it's been so much more than just a food tour. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. I return with my head, heart, stomach full. And it's been a real roller coaster and a real learning, and in many ways. As always, when I travel, I hope that I'm returning a better person, and I think that's certainly the case this time. Big thanks to everybody that's spent some time with me, taught me things, not just about food, but certainly the food. And just, I've had an absolute blast. So I'm going to try and write in the description many of the foods I've tried, tasted, places I've eaten, all things food that I think maybe you'd like if you ever come here. I really recommend this as a city, by the way. Big cities aren't usually sort of my thing, so to speak. But I have to say, Kolkata is a really fun city. It is known as the City of Joy, and I concur. Big shout out to the people at the place where I was staying. It's called Hotel Holiday Express. Oh my goodness, they couldn't have looked after me
any more. I couldn't have asked for any more. Delightful. Couldn't go past reception without chatting. That's more my fault. But they're so accommodating. I can't tell you the warmth that they showed. And was sad to leave, I have to say. So a big thank you to them. I hope all great with you wherever you are. I hope to see you in France. I hope you join me there for more things, food and fun. And I think maybe I need to eat some salad when I get back. Take care, one and all. Let's keep traveling from the kitchen. So bye for now. I'm off to get a plane. Ooh, I wonder if they'll be serving me dinner.